And we are back with another video, and I just got her washed. What a beautiful car. I put on Instagram the other day that this was probably my favorite Challenger I've ever had. And then somebody said, well, what about your Redeye? What about your black Redeye? And I'll tell you, this looks better than that Redeye. The Redeye was awesome because it was a Redeye. But this color with the shaker hood and the freaking hood pins, and even these wheels have grown on me. Only thing I would love to do is maybe make the calipers pop a little bit, but this thing is gorgeous. There's like nothing about this car I don't like. And as I've said before, I can care less if it's a special edition, but I like the black stripe. I like the badging. This car is just gorgeous. I think you all would agree. But let's jump in and talk about all the stupid things, idiotic things that car salesmen say to all of you while you're out shopping and how you should respond to them. All right, so let's get started. And first things first, you know, this has been a wild last 7 or 8 days of shooting videos every single day. And I want to thank you all for watching those videos. Yeah, I've been clinically diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder. Not to an extreme, debilitating extent, but I was in therapy years ago, more than you all want to know, with my 5th therapist, with my wife. And the gentleman's name was Randy, and I won't say his last name, but we paid $240 an hour to figure out what was wrong with me. Because at the beginning of our marriage, I was the problem, right? Because I'm the one that changed. Not really. Pretty much for the guys, we're exactly the same way as we were before we met them, as we were after we met them. But now oftentimes my beautiful wife would have liked me to be a little bit more back then. And yes, there were some bad habits, hanging out with the boys and drinking and partying, some things that needed to change. So we went to therapy and we got better. We learned how to deal with our challenges and how to negotiate rather than fight, and a lot of things that have led to now being together 17 years and having a downright phenomenal marriage. And I love this woman and she loves me, and while she is completely changed from the woman I originally met, I am exactly the same person. I hope she doesn't watch this video. I'm just kidding. And you know I'm not kidding. I mean, it's pretty, look, it is what it is, but I love her, and she's gotten better, and I've gotten worse, and she still loves me. So that makes her amazingly perfect. But what he said to me was, I have a tendency to latch onto things and really, really tightly hang on. And those things will weigh in my brain a lot until I find the solution to the problem. It's made me very successful in business to a pretty crazy level. And I said the other day to one of the leaders in my company, I said, listen, when I'm tasked with something, there's 2 options. Either I succeed at that something or you go to my funeral. Literally, there's not an in-between. I don't fail. I'm going to make it happen. Well, in this situation with these markups, you all know it's weighed on me so much over the last few years. It's driven me crazy. I've flown out of state to pick up cars. I've had cars shipped to me. I've helped you all find cars. I've fought with dealerships. I've got thrown out of dealerships. I mean, this has been something that's just consumed me because I don't believe in the exorbitant making up of prices and then market manipulation and withholding of inventory in order to find the dumbest person in the world to pay the price for the car that you want just because you want to line your pockets and gross the deal. So it's been just taken over my brain. So you all got the last 7 days of me driving it home. I don't know whether I'm going to keep going down this road. I'm sharing everything I can with you, and as I learn more, I'll share more with you. So that's why this has happened, is I'm pissed off. I'm freaking tired of it. At this point, the economy sucks. We've got, regardless of whether you watch the news or not or what they say, it definitely sucks. Interest rates suck. Everything costs more money, and people can't afford $2,000, $3,000 a month for a freaking Hellcat, a Dodge, for God's sake. And these dealers have taken what was somewhat market force driven in the last 3 years to just straight up market manipulation. I believe there was always a component of market manipulation, but today there's even more market manipulation. So let me read to you the definition of market manipulation. That way, at the very least, we can agree that what's happening right now is not market forces. It's not, has nothing to do with market forces, because market forces mean that if something is for sale, that in a rapid short period, that something is going to wildly sell out because of those market forces, and it's going to sell out for exorbitantly high but justifiable prices based on demand. Currently, that's not the case when cars are sitting for months and months and months, which you can see on Car Gurus, how many days they sit there unsold with ridiculous markups, with the dealers waiting for the dumbest person to walk and stick their head in the mousetrap and say, okay, I'll pay for it because I want it, because I believe everything you're saying. And we're going to talk about what they're saying and how you should respond, how I helped a subscriber yesterday in responding to a salesman's ridiculous statements once again. So I want to equip you all with that. So this is a long way to get to this, but let me just share with you the definition of market manipulation. Tell me this is not true. And of course, this generally refers to the stock market or even cryptocurrencies and investments such as those. But let's go ahead and see how that relates to the cars. So market manipulation is when someone artificially affects the supply or demand for something. And here it says for security, but for something. Okay, so that something being these Dodge Challengers and Chargers that they get on their lot, or they ordered under someone else's name in hopes it would get there early enough so that they could put it on the market with a huge markup and just gross somebody to the moon and make a ton of money on those cars. They're huge paydays. When you're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 car, you're making, a 50% profit on that car. That's insane. I mean, the margins aren't intended to be that way. So what we see happen is, along with inflation, you see the manufacturer raise their prices to the dealers, which drives the dealers to push their prices up even more. And what the dealers end up doing is adding these markups and then withholding these cars from the market, creating a manipulation of supply. Because if every car out there was for sale at MSRP, that real low supply might actually take place, in which case true market forces would apply and would probably take hold, in which case I have trouble even finding a good argument against market forces, meaning an auction type environment. If when I drove into the dealership the other day, there was a long line, like people trying to get on a ride at Disneyland to buy that car, or when iPhones came out and the lines were around the building to buy that car, and it just came down to, there's 50 people here that want that car. How do I figure out who gets it? Well, in that circumstance, it comes down to the only way to figure out who gets it, to where everyone wins, is to say which one of you are willing to pay more for the most for the car. In which case, that's true market forces. When a car just sits there for months and months, and they just picked an arbitrary number out of thin air and said, okay, we want 30,000. Another dealer down the street says, I want 40,000. Another one down the street says, well, I'll take MSRP. Another guy says, well, I want $5,000. And another one just says, oh no, tell me how much you want. We haven't come up with a price yet. And everybody's just going, okay, well, that's market manipulation. I'm not willing to give you that thing unless you give me a whole bunch more money, and otherwise I'll just sit on that thing forever. I'll let it gather dust in my showroom floor long before, which is why we have found so many, shockingly, 2022s, brand new with no miles, sitting on dealership lots, unsold with markups, because the demand, the market forces aren't there. Otherwise, the car would have been gone with that markup. So I'm going to read a message I got woke up to this morning, where this guy writes, Brad, I'm watching your video right now on interest rates. I came across something on Facebook, Scat Pack group, that I think you would like to know for yourself, videos or friends. This guy has posted, apparently it's a dealer, 2 or 3 cars this past month at MSRP, and he now has a Charger Swinger at MSRP. He also says they don't charge markups, and even sold a 170 Demon at MSRP. I took a few screenshots for you. The dealerships in Texas, Easy enough to figure out. Or I have his name that he can, you can go message him. Anyways, he put the pictures, and I'm going to put these up because he was watching my video, and it's just great. And this guy literally puts up there, available at MSRP, no add-ons or market adjustment. This is a dealer, a salesperson. Message me for more info. Have many other options available as well. So the dealers are doing this. But what's the difference between this guy and a dealer who's charging $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more on a swinger? Is that market forces don't apply to that other dealership, but in this other dealership it does apply? See, market forces are generally over the whole market. That's why they're called market forces. Demand is over the whole market. And with cars, considering we can export and import these cars from state to state, especially as long as they're 50 state vehicles, then it wouldn't stand to reason that a market here would be different than a market there when it's the exact same car, whether I parachuted into California or I parachuted into Texas. It doesn't matter. It's the same exact car. So why is it 30 grand more somewhere else? Sometimes that somewhere else is 3 or 4 blocks away, and that guy says, well, it's market forces. Yet the other guy sitting with a swinger in the lot at MSRP is still sitting there for 34 days unsold with no markup. Market forces seem to not apply. So I wrote a response to this gentleman who was talking to a dealership about a King Daytona. Now, let me read this to you. Hey, I have to tell you, I found a 2023 King Daytona for MSRP posted on a Dodge website. I was over the moon. I called and wanted to confirm the advertised price with the sales rep. I said, let's get this going at MSRP. And he says, oh no, this car is one of 300. Way too rare to go for MSRP. We just don't know exactly how much we want to charge for it. These cars are going away. Dodge is never making them again. If you want one, you're going to have to pay for it. He says, I hung up the phone. I was so ticked by that slimy advertising trick to get me hooked and only to burst the bubble. Makes me so mad, and how Dodge can let this happen. I love Mopar, but this is really giving me a sour taste in my mouth. So first, let me just address this. You can be mad at Dodge all you want, but there's nothing they could do about it. The dealers, even when Dodge tried to do something about markups, make rules around even the Demon 170s, not doing markups, you get your car produced, they just find a way around it. They manipulate it. They lie. Like I said in one of my other videos, they put a fake straw buyer's name on the car just to get the order delivered in earlier so they can hose somebody with inventory before everybody else gets it. They're always finding a way, and there's very little that Dodge can do, which is why you'll see next year Dodge raising prices on everything, because at some point Dodge, the manufacturer, knows dealers aren't going to be able to keep marking up already marked up prices, and Dodge is going to benefit from it. But it will, in the end, hopefully slow the amount of markups that are going on. So then he writes, hey Brad, so the saga continues. The dealership where I went and looked at the King Daytona is now calling me daily because they want to sell the car. And they can't sell the car. I told him it was unethical and wrong to be paying over MSRP on a vehicle. This is what they said. So it is unethical to sell vehicles less than MSRP? This is the stupid things the dealers say, because 90% of our vehicles are less than MSRP. It's all based on the market and market value and demand of the vehicle. Why are you calling me every day if you have such a huge demand on the vehicle? Why are you calling me every day? This seems insane that these words come out. This is why I can only describe this as stupidity when they say these things to us as though they think we're stupid, that it's market demand. Your car is sitting there gathering inches of dust, not moving. I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to market demand. I said I was not willing to get upside down with the car, with the payments and all. I offered MSRP, $35,000 down, and I have the financing. He said no, they'd rather take the vehicle to auction and get more for it there than sell it. Then do that. Like, just go do that. You're lying. If you could just take it to auction and make a whole bunch of money, why wouldn't you do it? Why would you rather hold out for a dummy to show up and then screw him on that markup rather than let the true market forces speak? Why? because they're not going to speak. There's risk involved, and there's high fees involved with auctioning a car. So if he takes that King Daytona to auction, a brand new car to auction, and that car ends up going for MSRP or doesn't get bid up and it doesn't sell for the reserve, they end up with that car. There's a possibility they've already tried that and no one bought that car, because in the end, it's a jailbreak Hellcat Redeye Charger wide body with some stickers on it. Let's just be honest, that's what it is. And I think people are wised up right now that that's not worth $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more. So that's one of the stupid things they say, which I'll just send it to auction. Then stop calling me. Stop calling me every day trying to get me to buy the car if you could just send it to auction. What am I missing here? This is freaking crazy. So I wrote him back what to say to him. And this is what I'm sharing with you all today. And I want you all to listen closely and share this with any dealer that's giving you the same baloney, as well as something else I'll share with you in a second. So I just wrote him back. These guys are something else. You should say to him, so if it's such a hot commodity, then why isn't it sold yet? Why is it sitting there still? Where is the line of buyers bidding the price up? How did you come up with the markup if you have no buyers lining up to buy it for what you're asking? If it's still here in another month, will you acknowledge that this is not market forces and rather a feeble attempt to manipulate prices and search for the dumbest buyer? Keep my name, and if you guys want to sell the car for MSRP, then I'll come down and buy the car anytime and establish a solid long-term relationship with your dealership, with servicing it there and buying future cars as well. Otherwise, good luck finding a rich sucker to pay that markup. I'm not him. Of course, he wrote back saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go and say that to him." I'm like, absolutely, you should say that to him, because I'm dying to hear his response. So he's gonna go do that and have that conversation with him. And I think that at that point, he's just gonna go silent, because they're gonna keep hanging on to trying to make some money until finally they take like a $5,000 markup from somebody. That's probably what's gonna end up happening, even though I think that's stupid. So you shouldn't pay that either. And lastly, another stupid thing that they say, I mean, they say lots of stupid things, but I want to address this is the last of these cars ever, and for that reason, these cars are going to be collector's items, and they're going to go up in value. So my response to that has always been, wow, that's awesome. Boy, you're a genius to have figured that one out, because I would have never thought of a mass-produced, injection molded, car like this to be a collector's item. But wow, I'm so glad I talked to you today, because I would have missed out on this tremendous investment. So based on your statements and your beliefs, which, hell, you're in the car industry, so you have to know more than me, because I'm just the dumb consumer, then you would have no problem, because obviously when I go home and tell my wife that I just bought an investment and it's a freaking lime green Dodge Challenger, that probably isn't going to go over real well. She's going to call BS, and I'm going to have to go back to another therapist. So I don't want to have to go through with that. So could you do me a favor, just so that I can show her that I took no risk today, because it's how I can justify it at home? Would you go ahead and just put in writing that since it's going to go up in value, that you would commit that if any time over the next 5 years I need to or want to sell this car, that you'll buy it back from me for the exact price you sold it to me for. And by the way, I'll eat my tax and license. You just commit to whatever price I buy it from you for, that you'll buy it back from me for that price, since you're a genius, you're so sure it's going to go up in value. Now, you could even do this. While you're in the conversation, he says, these things are going to go up in value. These things are going to skyrocket. These are collector's items. How sure are you about that? I'm 100% sure. Convey it more to me. Like, how positive? Like, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being there's nothing in the world that can change this car from going down in value. I mean, it's going to go up in value. 110% chance. Like, there's no chance it goes down. How sure are you? 10, 11. That's how sure I am. When that salesman says that to you, say, whew, have you ever been more sure about anything else in your life? No, this is one thing, though, I'm sure about. Because they're going to sell it to you because they think they got you on the hook. That's when you drop it on them and say, well, that's pretty cool. I'm convinced. So here's the deal. Just because I have to justify this to my wife and everybody else in my life, and my banker, my investor, my business coach, I mean, you know, I've got people watching over money. I mean, I got to answer to people. Everybody does. So here's the deal. Since you're sure, I mean, not just a little bit sure, but like more sure than anything you've ever been sure of in your whole life, would you guys just throw a little clause in the contract when I buy the car that you'll agree to purchase it back from me anytime in the next 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, that you'll buy it back from me, let's just say 10 years, whatever it is. So you'll buy it back from me for exactly what I paid you for it. So if I pay you that markup of $35,000, you're agreeing that when I come back later to trade it in for another car, or let's say I need to sell it, some catastrophe takes place in my house, I can come back here and you'll give me all of MSRP plus the markup that I gave you. Well, no, we can't do that. Wait a minute, back up. You just told me you were more sure about this than anything you've ever been sure about in your whole life. I believed you as an expert in your field, almost an investment advisor when it comes to this car. And now you're saying, but you're not willing to make that deal? So you're not willing to make that deal, but you want me to make that deal with that $35,000. How about this? Would you make the deal at MSRP? No, I wouldn't do that. Okay, great. So if you want me to pay a markup, I'm good with that based on, and by the way, you're saying it's because of market forces, because these cars are going to go up in value, and these are investments. If you want me to pay that markup, I need more. I need something more. Not just the same car I could get for MSRP. I need something more. And something more needs to be gold-plated wheels. I don't know. Give me something for that. Give me a lifetime warranty on the car. I don't know. Give me something. Or how about this? Give me one sentence in the contract that says that you'll buy this car back from me anytime in the next 10 years, or as long as the dealership's in existence, for exactly what I paid for it, including the markup and MSRP. If you'll do that, we can go back there. I'll give you your markup. I can tell you right now, no one's going to agree to that because they're lying to you. At that point, you say, man, you went from being the most surest guy in the world to being absolutely unwilling to make the same deal you're asking me to make. So for that reason, sir, I'm not going to buy this car. And I want you to know I'm a buyer for you if you decide to sell it at MSRP, because I'll take the risk at MSRP. I'll take the risk that it goes up. I'll take the risk also that it goes down. But with a big markup, I'm not willing to take the risk that it goes down, period. I'll even make a deal with you that if it goes down less than MSRP, you'll pay me back all that markup. How about that? You just pay me the markup rather than buy the car back. Would you make that deal? Well, no, I can't make that deal, because there's all of a sudden the surety goes to, well, because, you know, I'm not sure, you know, and a lot of things can happen. That's what they'll say. Another stupid thing they say, a lot of things can happen. Oh my God. Just a minute ago, you were so sure, as sure as you are standing in front of me right now, you were sure. And now all of a sudden you got, well, you never know. My boss will never go along with this. So you went from being an industry expert to being an industry idiot, a liar, and a cheater, and a thief. So I get it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. So with that, everybody, I hope this helps you all. Hope that script helps you all. And keep fighting the good fight out there. And yes, my OCD will keep me on this subject for a while, but I've got a lot of other videos planned that have nothing to do with this drama, but I just feel like we've got them on the ropes, and every day you're messaging me, and it's making me so happy every single time. I got 2 more messages yesterday. I'm not even going to read them, but another guy got another one for less than MSRP on an RT, which is cool when they were asking for a markup on an RT. So just beautiful, beautiful stuff every single day, from Hellcats to Redeyes to Jailbreaks. I mean, you guys are getting them at MSRP. Some of you are even getting them less than that, which is great. So please like, subscribe, comment, stay motivated, stay strong. Don't let the FOMO get to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.